This video is sponsored by TTARTISAN and their new 100mm f2.8 macro 2x lens. TTARTISAN have sent over their new 100mm f2.8 2x macro lens for me to take a look at. It comes well packaged in a nice box. It's not going to get destroyed in the post, even if Royal Mail get their hands on it. So that's a good thing to see there, is the packaging is really good. Let's take a look at the tech specs first, and then I'll tell you about my experience using this lens. So again, it is a 100mm focal length lens with a maximum aperture of 2.8 and a minimum aperture of f22. The aperture is controlled by the aperture ring here, which is the closest ring to your camera body. It's for full frame cameras and has a field of view at 24 degrees. The optical design in this lens is 14 elements in 10 groups with a field size of 67mm. The closest focusing distance is 0.25 meters, but that is from your focus point to your image sensor plane. The working distance, which is the distance between the end of your lens and the subject you are photographing, at 1:1 is 11.5 centimeters. At 2:1, it's 8.5 centimeters. It is a full manual lens, so it's full manual on the aperture, it's full manual on your focusing. The magnification, again, is 2 times magnification, and the available mounts are E, X, Z, RF, L, GFX, EF and F. So they do support a wide range of mounts for this lens. The weight of this lens without the lens cap or the back cap is 733 grams, and again this is for the R mount, so yours may vary depending on the mount that you're using. It is a heavy lens, it's full metal construction, and there is no rever sealing at all on this lens. The aperture ring is at the back here, and it's a clickable aperture ring, and it's actually quite nice to use, and I didn't accidentally knock it either. On a lot of these manual lenses you tend to accidentally knock the aperture ring quite often, but this one I did not. And the focusing ring is quite smooth as well on here. There is no lens hood that comes with this lens, so you might need to get a third-party lens hood on here. It just comes with your lens cap. The first thing I did was to go out to Norton Bogs to test this lens out macro in the field with my Canon EOS R, and generally the lens performs great. No complaints about the sharpness, no complaints about the working distance. The focusing ring is smooth, so overall no complaints about this lens. So I was photographing damselflies and a dragonfly. Check this shot out here. This is taken with the TTARTISAN 100mm lens. It is a full manual lens, and I did manage to get a dragonfly in flight. Conveniently, the dragonfly was flying right by me, so I was about this far away from him, so I really couldn't miss the shot anyway. But it did do a great job. The rendering from this lens is superb. I've got no complaints about the image quality at all. There's no chromatic aberration, no vignetting. I mean, there's nothing to moan about, to be honest with you. The only thing I would moan about is maybe the weight. It is heavy. My Canon is heavy, so my arms did start getting a little bit fatigued towards lunchtime. But if that happens, you just put the camera down, you have a break, and you carry on in a couple of minutes. And again, all of the images I'm showing you here have been taken out in the wild with the TTARTISAN 100mm macro lens. I've done that video previously about photographing the dragonfly, and then I was able to get one in flight with a full manual lens. So again, it's not necessarily the equipment, it's the subject, if it's willing to cooperate with you. This one was. Photographed some bees. I don't really do bees, to be honest with you, but we did photograph some bees. So we did photograph this spider here. My daughter found this spider because she was out helping me test this lens out. And talking about my daughter, being a 100mm lens, we did test out what it's like for portraits. I'm not a portrait photographer, so you can find me down in the comments about my quality of portraits, but it worked perfectly okay for portraits as well. Like I said, the hardest part when I took this lens out in the field was finding cooperative subjects. So what we did then is we came back to the studio and we photographed my jumping spiders. Now I did put on the flash, which is the Godox MF12 twin macro flash. I wanted to see if there's any internal barrel reflections while using that flash, and I'm happy to say that there was no internal reflections and nothing inside this lens when I was using the flash. And I had a very nice experience in the studio using this macro lens. We photographed my new jumping spider. This is not Missy. Well, we could name her Missy. Let's face it, all the females are called Missy. So we photographed Missy, and she performed very well considering that she's a brand new spider. I've only had her a few days, so to put her through a test like that after only having a couple of days, she performed very well. Very nice model. And again, absolutely no complaints from the image quality of this lens. I think it's an absolutely fantastic lens. Let's talk about the thing that you may have noticed when looking at this lens, and that's these screw holes at the front of the lens. These are adapters for you to mount accessories like lights. Now when you get the lens, it does come with a cold shoe that clips onto these mounting holes here. So if we screw that on, and then you're able to attach different accessories to your lens. So you could attach a little light on there if you need that extra boost of light. I didn't need to use that on testing because the trim macro flash comes with an adapter already. Other lenses out there in the market, some people have complained about the weather sealing on these little screw holes here for mounting the accessories. Listen, I'm going to be completely honest with you. There is no weather sealing on it anyway, so I would not be taking this out in any kind of environment that has a lot of moisture in it. So it doesn't matter about the accessory screws at the front here because it's not weather sealed anyway. And during the testing, I managed to photograph my jumper spider through the petals of a flower, and we got this image here. I absolutely love this image. I think it's a brilliant image. This has been processed and has been edited using my macro presets, so check them out in the description below if you want to help support the channel. The regular price of this lens is $319. However, right now there's a promotional offer on for $299. Again, that is subject to change, so check out the links in the description for the latest info on this lens. So you are getting a 2x macro lens with good quality glass for $319. Now again, it is a full manual lens, so you do need to have a little bit of experience when it comes to macro photography to use this lens. But that, I think, is an absolute bargain of a lens for anyone who wants to get into macro photography. It's a great starting point because again, you're getting that 2x macro rather than the one. You're getting a budget-friendly lens, and it is a good build quality, albeit a little bit heavy. But if you don't mind the weight, then this could be a great starting lens for you if you want to get into macro photography. So again, I've enjoyed my experience with this lens. I think it's a great lens. You can't go wrong with it. The image quality is great on it. It's a little bit heavy, but that's just something you would actually get used to. And at the price point, it's a great entry-level lens if you want to get into macro photography. I want to thank TT Artisans for sending over their 100mm f2.8 2x macro lens for review. It's much appreciated. There are links in the description if you want to check out some more information about this lens, but that's where I'm going to leave this video. I want to thank you for getting to the end of this video, and again, as always, I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for sticking to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, then please subscribe and click the like button. It really does help out the channel. I want to thank my Patreon supporters for their continued support in supporting me and this channel. If you're interested in joining Patreon, then check in the description below this video for a link to Patreon. If you want to continue watching my macro journey, then click one of the videos in front of you now.